Good morning, first of all, from my side. We are here traveling with a team. We have been in, where have we been yesterday? In Oslo. Traveling too much, as you see. And to start a little bit the competition, there have been about 120 people in Oslo in the room. So let's, Peter, start a competition between Norway and Finland here. A friendly one, please. Now, it's a pleasure for me. We see that these regions are super active and bring people again together. I organized this OPC Day Europe for about 10 years, and we had also about 200 people, 150, 200 people in the room in different locations in Europe. But through the pandemic, we learned that we need an international pure virtual event, which is bringing about 2,000 people into the virtual rooms, because the technology is scaling across the world. So let me give you a short update. I will talk a little bit about the organization, technology, collaboration, other news, call for action. For me, it's a little bit easier today because we have dedicated technical talks where I'm not doing a deep dive. So let's start. The OPC Foundation is a non-profit organization, and I'm not reading everything in detail. Hopefully you know what the mission of the OPC Foundation is. And what we are really proud on is exactly what we deliver. Because a lot of people just believe, well, we do standardization and that's it, right? No, it's much, much more. And we are really proud because it's different to other organizations. All specifications are free of charge available for everybody. You don't have to be a paying member of the OPC Foundation. Once they are released, obviously. Second, sample code is available open source on GitHub. I have a message on that later on. Third, there's a huge ecosystem. We have toolkit vendors here. Yoni with Process, OPC Unified Automation, and hopefully I have not forgotten now. Do we have a third one? Maybe, okay. So please visit all the toolkit vendors outside. I shouldn't have started the list. So if you build up your product with a toolkit, we invite you to come to the OPC Foundation lab. You don't have to be a paying member of the OPC Foundation. Even then, you have to pay for the service person doing the test for sure. But all of this we are doing to increase the stability of products and the user experience in the field. We don't want to earn money with standardization. We want that the standard is fulfilling what a standard should fulfill. That it's becoming easier, that it's being adapted, that it's like the USB connector, just a plug and produce, which is easy, which is scaling, yes, from field up to cloud. I'm disagreeing that MQTT is the future for the factory, because you need, if you talk to SAP and others, you need a client-server confirmed communication for interactions to write down recipes and so on. But sure, MQTT and PubSub has their super benefits on scaling many to cloud or one to many in the opposite. And all of that is based on a modern IPR policy, which also others don't have. And let me explain this, because I know that very specific people here in the room listening to. Our IPR policy is specific compared to others, because all the members are protecting not only the members itself, they are protecting everybody who is integrating or using the OPC UA technology, even they are not a member. So all the big companies, we have 80% of world revenue from the big 50, most 50 OT companies. But we also have small IT giants like AWS, who are also a speaker today, together with IBM, with Google Cloud, with Microsoft, with SAP. We have Volkswagen, Samsung, and so large end users. All of them signed that they are living in peace with each other and not start any suing. And this makes me proud, really. And this is exactly why only on this base we are cooperating with others. I will talk about that later on. Okay, membership is constantly growing. Since last year we have about nearly 50 members. Peter, this morning I checked, we have 899 this morning. So if you sign today here, you might become the number 900 and a prominent press release, right? There are 10 from Finland. If I see here more people in the room, so who of you is a member of the OPC Foundation? Raise up your hand. Okay. What is with the rest of the people here in the room? Do I have to provide a paper? So go to the OPC Foundation website, membership, it's easy. You just have to fill in your email and the rest is going on. Now, this was a real graphic from the OPC Foundation booth. It was amazing, 240 square meter and so on. By the way, these are the, no, this was Norway. Finland is here. The 10 Finland OPC Foundation members. Good. Very short update on legal. We extended our word marks, trademarks. This is, I think, standard stuff, but we extended it not only be available in US, in Europe, also in Japan, India, and China. You know that I started becoming an OPC president in 2018. We cleaned up stuff. We are now in a phase where we review every single document. Is it still on our modern IP policy? Is it correct to go into the next future and so on? And again, here to remind you, I talked about this already, about the IPR policy. It's RAND 0, which means that we provide royalty-free licenses to essential patents. And that makes sense. And this is why we only do cooperation with other associations based off our MOCA, the Multi-Organization Collaboration Agreement, which has been assembled by small companies like SAP, Siemens, Rockwell, Yokogawa, Beckhoff, Unified Automation, Microsoft. So all these legal people have come together and said, this is the best to protect the people in the world and the industry. And this is why we are proud on this. And all kind of collaborations where we cooperate, where we create new content, new information models is based on this. So you are protected if you work with a companion specification. You don't have to check, is this companion specification under a different IPR than this one, right? Okay. There has been multiple events in the year. I'm not able to make a summary of all of that, what happened with OPC UA and the foundation in the last year. I selected just one. It's the ACHEMA, where we had a fantastic large booth. And it was a pleasure. Remember, OPC started in the OLE for process control earlier years. Now it's openness, productivity, and communications. But here you see that the process industry completely have agreed and are leveraging OPC UA. We are starting on the left that in North America based end user association, the OPAF group, the Open Process Automation Forum, for their internal communication have exclusively selected OPC UA a couple of years ago already. The Namur Open Architecture is keeping the process, keep the plant up and running. Don't never touch a running system, right? You know what we are, well, engineers know what I'm talking about. But with a kind of a diode, data will get out to a second communication channel, the red one here, which is scaling from field up to IT. And this is what the Namur Open Architecture calls the second data channel, the second channel. And this is completely based on OPC UA only. And we have a fantastic slide later on here. And then the MTP technology is also splitting the modeling from communication. For modeling, they selected the Automation ML modeling language, but for communication, they selected OPC UA. So overall, the process industry is perfectly committed. Company Samsung has become a new member. It was kind of a really fantastic story because they asked for help. How can we load an information model, PADIM, into our devices, into our connectors, and have an immediately cloud MQTT connection? So in this case, Erich Barnstedt from Microsoft jumped in, provided a Docker container with a easy converter talking to the south port OPC UA client server, to the north port OPC PubSub via MQTT. They just installed it. It took, I don't know, half a day to get in touch and get it running. And so we had the dashboard running. During the ACHEMA, we had a press conference, and this was my favorite presentation from ABB. You know, sometimes you're just sitting and say, so, yeah. It was amazing because the ABB person clearly announced, today in the process industry, we have Profibus or Profinet here as a field bus system for the first channel, for the cyclic data channel, and we have OPC UA on top for parameterization and diagnosis as a vertical communication to the upper world. And then they predicted that for ABB, it's clear that OPC UA is becoming down into the devices, so it becomes a more and more hybrid product, and I believe this is becoming reality in the industry. As you have today multiple field bus systems in devices, OPC UA will be the next one on top. It has a benefit that you can put information models as near to the source as possible. Like the flow meter is starting. I know that people from even Switzerland came here, traveled here. So as an example, I'm taking a flow meter from Endreshauser, right? You have a flow meter, and the flow meter is booting and then providing standardized data out of the device. But then the third step is that OPC UA is the one and only to again save resources and have everything efficient. So fantastic story from one of the largest process automation suppliers of the world. Talking about technology and roadmap, I'm not diving super deep here inside, save a little bit time because Peter Lutz is talking about that on his own. But obviously it's a pleasure for me to mention that we congratulated the FLC team, the Field Level Communication team. We started that initiative in November 2018, and 4 years later they provided a specification and made a demo. And I assume that now products are starting soon and become soon available. It is in the first step really filling a gap that we can now, with OPC UA PubSub, this time via UDP, can fill a gap to horizontally connect devices from different ecosystems. You have a plant and you have a factory floor, and in the factory floor you have a machine running Ethernet IP ecosystem or the Profinet ecosystem or the EtherCAT or the whatever CAN bus driven ecosystem and so on. And how to connect them horizontally, machines with each other, including all kind of functionalities. This is definitely filling a gap, and Peter will talk much more about that. In general, we are lucky that technology is evolving by just combining technologies. For example, Ethernet APL, Advanced Physical Layer, is standard Ethernet plus power on one cable for hardware-constrained devices in X areas, so it's not a lot power. But this is helping us in the process industry that Ethernet APL is open us, the OPC Foundation, the way from the edge down to the field level. This is exactly why OPC UA can go down to field devices in the process industry. Ethernet APL is available, it is released, products are coming now to the market. There's also Profinet and also Ethernet IP over APL available for sure. But I truly believe that OPC UA over APL is the only future because it is the only technology which is, well, it has all the benefits of the other established field bus systems like safety, secure communication and so on. But OPC has much better support of information models, and it's the only technology scaling from field to cloud and back. And we have IT security built in what the other field bus systems don't have. TSN for the factory floor is the enabler for deterministic real-time. I do not believe that we have one TSN network for the complete factory with field and factory edge floor. This might become too complicated, but we will have dedicated, localized areas with fixed set of configurations, fixed set of IOs, where you find TSN as an enabler for high-speed deterministic. And so all the other field bus systems will run over TSN, and same OPC UA will also do. So at the end, the market will decide, but I see clearly benefits because, again, we are the only one for the horizontal communication, and when speed is fine and the rest of the parameters, cost, easiness of configuration and so on is also fine, then I see good chance for OPC UA. Good. Talking about cloud, very quickly, there's so many information about cloud. Cloud library is just a repository in the cloud. It has a REST API. It is just the world's largest collection of OPC UA-based information models. So if you order a pump, then you, while you are waiting that the pump is delivered, you can go to this public repository free of charge, download the pump information model, start on your software, do configurations, and then when the device is there, you connect it and it works. Cloud Federation, I think I have a slide. I thought I have a slide. Let me check. No, I have no slide. Okay. I have to do it verbal, or give me a chance to check here. Oh, it's there. How do I stop this one now? President needs help. Oh. Here we go. Good. Sorry for this confusion. The Cloud Federation project has started 2 years ago, or 1 year ago, even June 2021, as a joint working group. The reason behind it is like this. In a factory floor, every supplier wants to have additional data from his own assets. And you want to analyze this, you want to do predictive maintenance, you want to optimize this. Maybe you want to sell additional services to the factory owner and, hey, my device should need maintenance now, not on a cyclic, regular 2-3 months level, but a cycle, but on demand. And to avoid any shutdown of machines. But this is a scenario what most manufacturer people don't like, because then everybody has all data everywhere, every time. What the manufacturers normally want to have is something like this. At least this is the scenario what we know from the automotive industry. A manufacturer wants to have, first of all data in his own cloud. And from there, he wants to make agreements and contracts to forward then filtered information, a subset of information to supplier clouds. Obviously, the world is not black-white, not 0-1. You can have mixed configurations. But the team has sit together. They just configured how, in this case, the MQTT messages with OPC UA payload, how these messages are configured, who is allowed to see and consume what kind of information. These requirements have been forwarded to the OPC core team and it will be integrated into the Part 14 PubSub. I cross fingers that we can do a presentation next year. This is now really a pleasure for me to present because last year at the SPS show 2021, we exactly introduced OPC UA over MQTT as a real live demo. The specification has been released in February 2018 already, after being a long time available as prototype. Remember, we are only publishing a specification if we have done extensive prototyping. I remember the prototyping because we showed this live at the Hannover Messe 2016, where Mr. Obama was the president of the United States and visited Hannover Messe, and his dog, well, not from Obama, but from the security people, were behind our walls and unplugged all cables, and our demo was no longer working, right? And we have been too fat to go behind the walls. Okay, so we do extensive prototyping, and last year we had a demo OPC UA over MQTT. At that time, we only had 2 controllers from Siemens and Beckhoff. Both have implemented both bindings. There's a JSON binding and a binary binding for different use cases. But the second pleasure was that and all these data have been published to the Microsoft Azure dashboard, but we had the pleasure in February 2020 to publish a press release where all major cloud suppliers agreed and confirmed that OPC UA over OPC UA over MQTT is on their either available or on their technical roadmap. And 1 year later, we noticed that a lot of more OT companies have participated on our ongoing Plugfest. So it's 365 days up and running. Everybody who likes to participate, please get in contact with us. And you can sit at home, your device can stay at home, no travel, just publish data into the broker, and then we forward this to the dashboards. This year, obviously, the biggest pleasure was to have AWS here, the friends with also the live demo, joining the live demo. You see me smiling, but this is your colleague, Steve Bridgeland. He also gave, by the way, a presentation at the OPC Day in Chicago before. So AWS is a really active contributing member of the OPC Foundation. And it's a good situation for me to say just thank you, because there are some representatives here in the room. So two cloud giants are supporting OPC UA over MQTT, and now let's see what the others are doing soon. I believe this is really becoming the kind of USB connector, and everybody should be happy to have this standardized connector to the cloud, right? The binary encoding has a big benefit because it allows you to secure the payroll, the payload, so no broker can look inside what's inside. So for the industry, OT industry, it has much higher value to have this also on top. Collaboration information models, I try to speed up. We believe that the OPC Foundation is the world's largest ecosystem of standardized information models. 85, meanwhile, are available. And remember, all of them are under the same IPR policy with worldwide umbrella as a protection. Obviously, you find all of them in the OPC Foundation web. We have been updated the page, completely redesigned. You can set now filters and say, I'm looking for only information models for the energy or factory area, or for cloud computing, or for engineering, or whatever. And then you have filters, so have a look on that. Just this year, we released 12. We started, meanwhile, 5. This is status of September. Till end of this year, I know that we will start a couple of new ones. And this is the announcement what's happening in 2023. After being focused on process automation and factory automation, the OPC Foundation will start much more efforts and in the area of energy. It is not driven, honestly, by the OPC Foundation board or something like that. It has been initiated by our members. Members came to us and alerted we all the areas of energy, to save energy. Green energy, renewable energies is dramatically growing, but there are nearly no information models. We have good information models, IEC-based, for wind turbines, but not for solar panels and others. And guess what? The world's largest solar panel project in the world, in Egypt, is completely running on OPC, on OPC UA. But it has been done information modeling by few companies, and we want to make it as an international standard. Also one of this, and I don't like to steal information here from Heiko as a presenter later on, but this is also something where I'm proud on that multiple groups are working together, ODVA, P&O, field bus organizations, and put together knowledge on a table. How can we write a really good power consumption interface? Because all kind of devices, the robot, the pump, the injection molding machine, whatever device will have a power consumption interface. And we should avoid to have multiple different interfaces, right? After a conflict on different protocols, we should avoid a conflict on different information models, because this one has not been made by me. And that's why I start my own one, right? Completely stupid. We are engineers. We shouldn't do that, right? Good. Talking about certification, just with one slide, we are constantly evolving and adding more scripts and test scripts. You can get this as a member. You have free access to this CDT tool. You can write and extend it with your own scripts. If you're a logo member, you can get it for a super small price of $1,000 US. So all that is available, and even joint working groups. If you're a member of the joint working group, we have new rules that we are sharing this free of charge inside the working group while the working group is working. Why are we doing this? Because it costs really a lot of money. I think we are spending about $250,000 US per year for maintenance, adding more scripts and so on. Because we want quality on the market. We want to support all the groups, right? Good. Some news, very, very quick. There's a new .NET user group. It is not an initiative by the OPC Foundation, but by 3 board companies, ABB, Microsoft, SAP, because they are using the open source .NET offerings, which is on the OPC Foundation GitHub, and they came together and says, okay, let's optimize the code, do better maintenance, implement new features, and they are donating each one developer something like a project management. But the important message is the license is not changing. It is still available as open source for the community, and if you are not a member, then it's under GPL v2 available for you. OPC Academic, I know that there are some members here from Finland, from the academic world, as a member in the OPC Foundation. We finalized a first version of OPC UA academic program. It's about 260 slides, even recorded by a professor, that everybody is able to understand how should I explain this to my students. We realize in Germany, but also that has been my impression yesterday in Oslo, that the market needs young, educated people who know something better on OPC UA directly coming from universities. And this is why we leverage this program. We are now doing translations in Japan, France, Spanish, and Arabic. It has been translated to Chinese already, so this is ongoing. Do we need a specific translation for Finland? No, Finnish people are smart, right? Okay. This program is designed to steal content, so you don't have to take the blue slide master from the OPC Foundation. We just want that the professors save time. They can steal the content graphics into their own slide decks. So please make them aware of this. There's an IoT starter kit running on a Raspberry Pi. You can play around with that, also for OPC UA over MQTT, just for your reference. And here's my call for action. I like to get a success story here from Finland. We started with Equinor moving data to Microsoft. We had Renault pushing data to Google Cloud. We had Miele. We had right now Rosendahl, which is a company in Austria. And I know that there is a success story with AWS, but I'm not allowed to talk about public. Okay, so let's ask here the Finnish community. Where's a good success story? You are doing OPC for so many years. There must have been something great to tell the world. Please contact me, and we go forward. Well, and my last slide is where maybe it's because of Christmas time is upcoming, and then you you think a little bit what happened over the year and what is good and what is maybe suboptimal. And I realized that at least in Germany we have so many initiatives, sometimes also government-paid research money where you are not sure is it surviving after 2 years, 3 years after the research money is gone and spent. And there are so many new words that I totally believe that large companies, large enterprise companies have so much human resource power. They can be in every group and make their own feeling and how does it fit together. What is the difference between submodels of the asset administration shell compared to companion specifications? Why do we need a data space on top of the asset administration shell, and where is a digital twin? Is he in the data space or not? It's really confusing for small, medium companies, and they are getting confused on this. And my feeling is this is definitely prevents even the adoption. Because I noticed that later on today we have a presentation from the Open Industry 4.0 Alliance. I noticed that they are calling their solution a service bus, which is OPC UA PubSub over MQTT. So here's my friendly request. Why not name it OPC UA over MQTT as AWS, Microsoft, and 18 other, and the OPC Foundation is naming this. This would be a good Christmas wish from myself, right? Don't confuse the world, because the people don't know, is a message bus talking to OPC UA MQTT, or do I need something else? And we should educate people that it fits together easily. The OPC Foundation is proud that we are right now working together with Automation ML, the IDTA, Industrial Data Twin Association, a Digital Twin Association, OPC Foundation, and VDMA on a positioning paper, how everything fits together, right? Last call for action. Who of you who have not raised up your hand and have not been a member of the foundation is convinced that we do a good job? So maybe you become a member, right? Maybe you start with a free of charge logo membership, which also has some benefits, but maybe you think that the work we are doing is really good and you like to support it. So why not step up, become a corporate member, and support this? I asked already for success stories, so please get in touch with Joni or myself directly. We are always looking for interesting stories, for podcast presentations, or even for contribution to the upcoming OPC Day International next year. Date has to be figured out. And at the end, well, if you're from the industry, why don't you tell us your use cases? Because we have the largest, biggest community of OT and IT people where we are solving things. Remember the Cloud Federation, where we have requests from industry, so we can integrate that. It is immediately redirected and becomes reality in specifications. So this makes definitely sense. Good. Overall, that was my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention and for the invitation.